जय हिंद दोस्तों. In this video, I'll speak about Rudyard Kipling's Kim. I will particularly speak about the socio-economic and political background of the novel, the background in which this novel was published in 1901, and I'll speak about the outline of the novel. At the same time, I'll speak about the major characters in the novel. The background of the novel. Socio-economic background in which this novel was published. When the novel was published in 1901, India was under British colonial rule, with the British East India Company exercising significant control over the subcontinent. The Indian economy was largely agrarian with a small industrial base. Social hierarchy was rigid, with the British at the top, followed by Indian aristocrats and then the general population. Poverty, illiteracy, and disease were widespread. Political context. The British Raj, that is, the British rule in India, was at its peak, with Queen Victoria as the Empress of India. Indian National Congress, founded in 1885, was gaining momentum in its fight for Indian independence. There was rivalry between Russia and Britain, known as in the novel the Great Game. The Great Game was playing out in Central Asia, with India as the key battleground. The British were consolidating their power in India with a focus on expanding infrastructure, education, and administration. Indian culture was diverse. It is diverse right from the beginning. Even today, it is diverse. During colonial period, it was of course diverse. So it's a continuation from ancient time to the present day. Indian culture was diverse with various religions, languages, customs coexisting. The British were imposing their own culture, their language and values on India and Indian people. There was a growing interest in Indian spirituality and philosophy among Westerners. Kipling's Kim reflects this complex background, exploring themes like identity, that is, Kim's mixed heritage. Kim, as we know, he is the protagonist of the novel. Then we find that imperialism in the novel, spirituality also, which is represented by Lama, the Buddhist monk. Then there is a kind of the issue of loyalty, that is Kim's relationship with various mentors. Rudyard Kipling as a writer, he is one of the greatest writers, writing the fiction. Not only the fiction, he wrote words, he wrote short stories, and he is as a writer very popular. Kipling was born on December 30, 1865 in Bombay. In Bombay, today we call it Mumbai. Joseph Rudyard Kipling, one of the most acclaimed writers of both prose and verse of the late 19th century and early 20th century. He spent his early childhood in India, and his exposure to the native languages in India greatly influenced his writing style, clearly reflects in his works. His most famous works include The Jungle Book, Kim, Just So Story, The Who Would Be King, If. Kipling's contribution to the field of literature won him the Nobel Prize in 1907, making him the first English language writer to receive the prize, Nobel Prize. Outline of the novel. The part 1 of the novel is set in Lahore. Lahore then of course was part of India. The partition didn't take place. The partition of India took place only 1947. So Lahore of course was part of India, and the first part of the novel is set in Lahore. And this first part of the novel introduces Kim as a young orphan boy. Young orphan boy living on the streets of Lahore. This part describes Kim's daily life. The same part introduces Lama, a Tibetan Buddhist monk who was searching for the river of the arrow. Kim meets Lama and joins him on his quest for enlightenment, or his quest for the river of the arrow. Part 2 introduces Kim and Lama set out on their journey, traveling across India, visiting many places. Both Kim and Lama meet Mehboob Ali, another character, a horse trader and spy for the British. Mehboob Ali takes an interest in Kim and begins to mentor him. Kim learns about the Great Game, that is a rivalry between British and Russian intelligence agencies. British and Russian intelligence agencies. In third part we see Kim and Lama travel to Shimla, a British hill station there. They meet Colonel Creighton, a British intelligence officer. Creighton recognizes Kim's potential and begins to train him as a spy. Kim learns about British colonial politics and the importance of the Great Game. In fourth part, we see that Kim and Lama continue their journey, now entangled in the Great Game. They encounter Russian spies and agents, including villainous Largan Sahib. Kim uses his skill and knowledge to help the British, while also learning about his own identity and loyalties. In part 5 of the novel, we see that Kim and Lama near the river of Arrow, a sacred river believed to wash away sin. Lama achieves spiritual enlightenment, finding the river, and Kim must choose between his loyalty to his friends and his own destiny. There is a kind of conflict in the mind of Kim. In last part we find that Kim finds a sense of belonging and purpose. Lama returns to Tibet, leaving Kim to continue his journey. Kim reflects on his experiences, now a young man with a newfound understanding of himself and the world. Let us have a look at some of the major characters in the novel Kim. Kim, as I said, is the protagonist of the novel. He is the main character of the novel. He is described as orphan son of an Irish regiment soldier, Kimball O'Hara Sr. He is the orphan son of an Irish regiment soldier who we see as Kimball O'Hara Sr. and an unnamed Irish nurse maid. Although Kim is of white descent, a half caste woman in the city of Lahore raises him, and so he speaks, thinks, and dreams in the manner Indian people do. And he is described as Asiatic due to his dark complexion and intimate knowledge of local customs. He was a kind of very much Indian because he knew Indian languages, he knew Indian customs, he knew Indian culture. And then he was not like, as far as complexion is concerned, he is not like the other white people in India. In his youth, Kim often takes advantage of such racial ambiguity. It was his strength. Disguising himself for entertainment and to earn money, Kim often takes advantage of such racial ambiguity. Disguising himself for entertainment and to earn money begging or running errands for locals and Mehboob. Over time, however, Kim's fragmented identity becomes a source of existential anxiety. It's a kind of existential crisis. As he travels across India with Lama, meeting new people and eventually receiving training as a spy, he comes to question who he really is. This is the question of identity. Though he has many mentors to guide him, none of them shares Kim's unique identity, and they are thus unable to lead him towards self actualization. While Lama encourages Kim to cast aside the material world in search of spiritual enlightenment, the people like Huri Babu and Mehboob push for Kim to further enmesh himself in the political intrigue of the great game. Such such opposite influences are often overwhelming, but ultimately they help Kim maintain an open mind, teaching him to define himself on his own terms. By the novel's end, Kim does just this, affirming his identity not through his racial identity but through the relationships that have shaped his journey towards adulthood. Another character, Lama. Lama, often referred to as just the Lama. He is an old Buddhist monk and father figure to Kim. He is from Tibet. The Lama comes to India in search of river of the arrow, a mythical river capable of washing away one's sins. By bathing in the river, Lama hopes to achieve spiritual liberation and free himself from the will of things or the material world. Upon meeting Kim, however, Lama's spiritual priorities gradually shift. Though at first he sees Kim as merely a disciple or chela, over time he develops a deep paternal affection for Kim. Paying his way through school and waiting for Kim to graduate before he continues his own journey towards enlightenment. Such outward earthly display of affection run contrary to the Lama's supposedly detached worldview, illustrating the profound impact Kim has on the Lama. Despite making such spiritual compromises, however, Lama still achieves his desired enlightenment, discovering the river in the old widow's backyard and achieving spiritual liberation. Even here, however, Lama's affection for Kim proves influential, with Lama ultimately opting to return to his earthly form to guide Kim towards Kim's own salvation. Thus, Lama embodies a fusion of spiritual detachment and earthly affection. It suggests that one need not exclude the other. One need not exclude the other. Mehboob is a Pathan, horse dealer, spy, and long-time friend and mentor of Kim, working directly under Colonel Creighton. Mehboob is trusted agent for the British government in the Great Game. He uses his business as a horse trader as a front for his intel gathering operation. gathering information. At the start of the novel, he employs an unknowing Kim to deliver a secret messages about an upcoming war to Creighton. Based on Kim's successful completion of the mission, Mehboob recommends him him to Colonel Creighton, resulting in Kim's attendance at Lucknow, training under Largan Sahib. Eventually, Kim also trains under Mehboob, gaining real world experience through his mission abroad. This collaboration deepens the bond between Kim and Mehboob. Mehboob, in recognition of Kim's achievements, gives him his first pistol. Mehboob Ali proves to be a reliable ally, mentor, and friend to Kim. One of the most important characters again is Colonel Creighton. Colonel Creighton, nicknamed Creighton Sahib by Kim, is high-ranking British intelligence officer in India. Though considered by many to be foolish for his economically unsound obsession with horses, Creighton is anything but a fool. He is not a fool. In reality, Creighton's whimsical presentation masks his status as the British spy master in the Great Game, the man behind the strings. Creighton controls a vast network of British informants, including Mehboob Ali, Hurre Babu, Largan Sahib, and eventually Kim. Though Creighton, like other mentors, adopts parental attitude towards Kim, his is a parentalism of distance. He pays for Kim's schooling and arranges his training with Mehboob Ali, Hurre, and Largan. Another character is Largan Sahib. He is highly intelligent, knowledgeable, and perceptive person. Resourceful. He is resourceful, skilled in espionage, surveillance, and problem solving. Committed to the British and his friends like Mehboob Ali and Kim. He is wise, understands human nature, culture, and politics. Composed and patient, even in challenging situations. He mentors Kim in espionage, life skills, and cultural understanding. He uses his knowledge to influence others like Kim and Mehboob Ali, keeps his true intention and affiliations hidden. Largan Sahib connects Eastern and Western cultures. He embodies the nuances of colonial relationships, represents Indian culture and intelligence, balances loyalty to the British with sympathy for Indian culture. He maintains composure despite personal risks and weighs consequences of his action. He is a very balanced person. He maintains his relationship with the British as well as he upholds the dignity of Indian culture. The Great Game in the novel represents espionage, politics, and power struggles. Jewelry shop symbolizes hidden knowledge and deception. So there are certain symbols in the novel which need to be analyzed or interpreted. The first one is the road, grand truck road, because this we often come across. It has been referred to several times in the novel. Represents journey, transformation, and connection between different worlds, Eastern, Western, spiritual and material. It symbolizes Kim's growth, self-discovery, and navigation of complex allegiances. The road also serves as a meeting point for characters from various backgrounds and it highlights India's cultural diversity. Then the second symbol is the river of arrow. The river of arrow symbolizes spiritual cleansing, redemption, and Lama's quest for enlightenment. It represents cyclical nature of life, death, and rebirth in Hinduism and Buddhism. The river's healing properties also reflect Lama's spiritual renewal. The red bull on a green field. The red bull on a green field. It represents Kim's Irish heritage, connecting to his father and search for identity. It symbolizes protection, safety, and Kim's desire for belonging. The flag also serves as a tangible link to Kim's past and his European roots. The game refers to the great game of espionage and politics, symbolizing global power struggles, colonialism and imperialism. Kim's navigation of complex loyalties and allegiances represents Kim's growth from innocence to awareness of global politics. The train represents modernity, colonialism, and technological progress. It symbolizes disruption of traditional ways, highlighting tension between old and new. Trains facilitate movement, connection, and exchange between characters from different backgrounds. That's all in this video. In the next video, I will analyze this novel from post-colonial perspective. Thank you. Jai Hind.